Hi, my name is Brian Como, and I'm here today with Tom Halpenny. He's the product line leader for our Contracting Solutions group. He recently took a trip to Brazil and was able to see what the crop conditions were like there for the later corn crop. And so we thought we would just secure a boardroom here and quickly have a conversation with him about that. So Tom, you were in Brazil. Tell us about what you saw there.
Yeah, we had a great trip to Brazil, and right now is the sort of the second crop in Brazil. Soybeans is the dominant or major crop, and that harvest is concluded. And then after the soybeans are done, they put in some corn, and that corn is just getting ready to come off and harvest now. So when we were there was just the odd field that was maybe just getting started to open up. They'll just be getting into it probably in the next couple of weeks. And the second corn crop in Brazil, last year they had some drought conditions. The area we traveled around fairly extensively was the eastern side of the Mato Grosso state, and that's prime soybean and corn growing area. The crop mix there is soybeans and corn and cotton. Cotton's pretty common too, and so right now the harvest they're just rolling into that second corn crop.
How do conditions look? From the crop that just came off. So we saw first season corn and first season or the soybean crop just get harvested, and the safrinha crop is in the growing season right now. What does that look like?
Yeah, I tell you, we covered quite a geography where we had to fly into to get to Mato Grosso, and then we drove for about 3 hours, and then different directions from where we were out to the different farms. We saw a pretty broad area, and I'll tell you, we did not see a poor corn crop. And just talking to some of the farm customers that we got the opportunity to visit, last year they were reporting yields that were probably in the range of about 90, maybe 100 bushels the acre for the most part. In some cases, maybe even a little bit less than that. This year, they're talking about averaging somewhere in the range of 140, 150, with the top end or the better land yielding up and towards 200 bushels for the second corn crop is in that top range of what their experience is of what that crop can produce generally. So overall, the sentiment of feeling was from our farm customers that we visited there is that this crop's coming off pretty good. And the same with our traders when we visited them in Sao Paulo. I think the conditions across Brazil are pretty favorable, pretty much from top to bottom, with regards to the safrinha second corn crop here. So
good. So you were there in with the Contract Solutions group. So what can you bring back from there that might be interesting to our producers here in Canada?
I kind of knew that agriculture and farmers, kind of wherever you go around the world, have a lot of things in common. Canadian farmers and Brazilian farmers have more in common than we might realize. And they're quite a long distance away from export position, like a lot of our farm customers are. They've got this foreign exchange problem where all of the grains and most of the grains that they're trading are traded off of U.S. dollar-based exchanges in Chicago with regards to corn and soybeans particularly. So they've got this foreign exchange problem, same as what we do as it relates to basis and the unpredictability and trying to manage that, right? And I think something else that was just struck me as being a common thing in how we do business with our customers there. We were working with our account reps, same as our customer-facing people here in Canada, and they're selling inputs in Brazil, the same as what some of our team members do, and struggling through with some of these challenges of distance to port, and they've got way more variability with freight than we do because almost all of it moves by truck. But they do have the option to move by truck to barge, truck to rail, but they don't have the infrastructure that we do with rail. And just traveling around the community we were in, which is about 50,000 people, so just to put it in context, maybe something like Brandon or Grand Prairie, that kind of size of a community, agriculture based, and it wasn't there 30 years ago. So it sprung up as a lot of this land's become developed and turned into productive agricultural land, and the interactions that we had with our account reps and with their customers, the conversations they had and the challenges and the issues and all the solutions that they were bringing were the same things that our account reps are talking to our customers about. And just the fact that the whole way that business transaction sort of progressed along was the same, and the same issues and topics that we had here. We've got way more in common, even though the language is different. They're all talking in Portuguese, but they were talking about the exact same things.
Mm-hmm. What would be the one takeaway that you could bring back that would be pertinent for the next couple of weeks or through the Canadian growing season?
Yeah, I mean, we just take a look at wheat and corn prices. They're showing some strength right now, and I think export demand on the U.S. side in that feed grain complex is going to feel a little pressure as this Brazilian crop comes to market. It's going to take a little while, of course, because they're just stepping into harvest now, and it takes some time to get that fully into export position and to sort of feel that. But we're just heading into weather market time here in the U.S. and Canada, and I think from the Brazilian side of things, I mean, they're just into that corn harvest, and there's going to be additional corn that's going to come for export. That's an unknown factor that's going to just be a bit of a drag on the top end of prices on the feed grain side as that shows up in market.
So this next question may be a little bit more pertinent to our Ontario producers, but corn risk management strategies right now, what's being talked about in your circles as far as the Canadian risk management strategies on corn?
Yeah, I think we've got this lift right now in the future side of things, and so I mean, really trying to encourage people to take advantage of these market spikes, because there's still the macro situation, the supply situation with corn is still pretty heavy. Like I just mentioned about Brazil and seeing some of that firsthand and taking a look at that corn crop, I think there's going to be some pressure that shows up there in a few weeks, in a week or two or 3 or 4. So just as we're going through this period here, so don't sort of count on this thing running away unless there's a really big weather situation showing up that's going to impact production substantially. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's the key takeaway. I mean, protect the price. You got a valuable price. Use a minimum price strategy of some kind if you want to have some upside participation. But most importantly, don't get wrapped up in your emotions and sit on the sidelines thinking this thing's going to the moon, because I think there's lots of factors here that are going to keep it capped off.
Perfect. So thanks for coming in. Hopefully you guys found this valuable. We'd love to bring you guys boots on the ground kind of stuff, and it's great that Tom here from our Canadian office was able to go down there and see for himself. So thanks for coming in, Tom.
You bet. Thank you.